Hello, you're Jérôme Chappellaz, Senior Scientist at the French National Center for Scientific Research in Grenoble, France, and you're an ice core scientist. So, can you briefly describe your career path and maybe what you're working on at the moment?
Okay, in a few words, when I was a young kid I wanted to be a volcanologist.
Okay.
And I started studying actually geology, and then I moved to geochemistry and geophysics.
Mm-hmm.
And I discovered gasology during my master, and I found it very exciting, and I decided to move from the fire to the ice. So I became a gasologist.
Okay.
And I defended a PhD at Grenoble, France, and then I moved to New York City to work at the NASA Goddard Institute for Space Studies, to work with models, with Dr. Ines Fung, to open a bit my mind.
Yes.
And then I came back to Grenoble, got a position, and since then I still work at Grenoble, mostly on ice core science, so trying to analyze ice cores which are drilled in polar ice sheets to understand climate changes, atmospheric composition changes.
Okay. So what do you consider to be the most important discovery of your career so far?
That's a tough question because I think there are different paths. Probably the most important has been to be able to reconstruct the evolution of atmospheric methane in the atmosphere. It's one of the greenhouse gases, third in importance after water vapor and carbon dioxide. And I had the great chance to work on the Russian Vostok ice core, allowing us to reconstruct the evolution of methane over glacial interglacial cycles.
Okay.
And that allowed us to calculate the relative forcing due to methane and to discuss why climate impacts the atmospheric methane cycle. And that's still something I'm working on.
Okay.
There are some other aspects. I worked a lot on in isotope geochemistry, trying to understand why greenhouse gases changed in the past by studying their isotopic composition. And I worked as well on the climate dynamics, how climate changes at both poles, how it relates in terms of timing. And I use atmospheric methane actually as a stratigraphic marker for this kind of work.
Okay, I see. It's very diverse.
Oh yes.
And so what would you say are some of your biggest challenges in your work?
I think the biggest challenge right now is the project which keeps me busy with a very nice group. I had the chance to be selected with a European Research Council, ERC Advanced Grant, and we are trying to develop a probe which would be able to measure climate and atmospheric composition in the ice sheet in situ.
Okay.
So we are working with laser physicists to develop a new instrument for that. It's a very big challenge, but very exciting.
Yes, I see. Today, you're recognized as a very successful scientist, and you've actually received the EAG Science Innovation Award and as well the GS-EAG Fellowship. So what do you think were the main contributors to you being where you are now?
Obviously, I'm very proud of having received this kind of honor. It's a great recognition. I'm very happy for that. At the same time, I never forget that this kind of science is really a collective work, especially in ice core science, because I mean you can do beautiful things on ice core. The first thing is to get it. And to get it, you need very good technicians and engineers. You need fantastic logistic people who are able to bring you in the middle of Antarctica, keep you alive to get this ice cores.
Yes.
And I mean, the basic of our science, this is this. You know, so we feel really like a kind of family. So I'm very happy to get this recognition, but I think it really goes to the full community.
Okay.
And I will not, keep it like personal.
Yes. So the contributors to your success is an entire team.
It's very wide, and especially now the ice core science really runs in terms of international programs.
Yes.
Very recently we had a beautiful program handled by our Danish colleagues in Greenland, 14 countries involved. And I mean, you get there, you work on the ice core, and you feel like you're part of a world family.
Okay.
You don't feel like Danish territory, and then you're a young person, French person being invited. No, we're just ice core scientists working together. So it's very international.
Great. So finally, what advice would you have to give to junior scientists?
I think they should remain very open-minded. The ideas come often from hearing from other communities. So there is a danger in doing that, because then you can, just go in too many directions and then get lost. But just to keep some curiosity.
Yes.
Goldschmidt conferences, for instance, is fantastic because you have isotope geochemists or geochemists in general working on all different kind of fields. And I was astonished by the presentation yesterday, for instance, by Francis Albarel on the isotopes used to understand disease, cancer.
Yes.
I mean, I didn't know about that. It's fantastic. And just to keep the curiosity as a young scientist, go from time to time, listen to something you would not listen because of your topic.
Okay.
But that may, put something in your brain somewhere, and maybe, who knows, 5 years, 10 years later, you will be very happy to have this part in your brain.
Yeah.
So that would be my advice.
Okay. Well, great. Thank you very much for your time, Jérôme.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.